Welcome back to the podcast, guys. Today I have a very special guest, somebody that is super inspirational to me. Current world record holder of the most pull-ups in 24 hours and the most muscle-ups in 24 hours, Brandon Tucker. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, man. It's an honor.
No worries. And let's just get into it. A lot of people are probably wondering, why did you decide to do pull-ups for 24 hours? And after that, you thought, hey, this is not enough. I want to do muscle-ups for 24 hours. What made you do both of these challenges?
I'm not crazy, so let me start with that. I'm not just this crazy guy that has something to prove. I was going through some things, or I'd went through a lot at that point in my life when I made that decision that I wanted to break the world record for pull-ups. So I lost my mom and my stepdad in a car accident back in 2015. I was active duty. I was in the United States Army. I was an Army Ranger, and I got the phone call that my mom was in a car accident, and her and Chris, I considered him a stepdad. He wasn't technically a stepdad. Him and my mom wasn't married, but they were together for 13 or 14 years, and he's a great guy. But that happened, and 2 weeks later, or a week later, I got a Red Cross. Obviously, the Ranger Regiment got the Red Cross message and sent me home for a week to bury my mom. And I got back, and that following week, I don't know if you know much about the military, but I had a promotion board. Basically where you level up, and they basically you sit in front of your sergeant major and a bunch of first sergeants, and they kind of drill you with knowledge questions, that you should know at that level. And so that's kind of what happened to me after burying my mom and doing all that. I had a lot of stress going on, but I ended up getting sick, man. And long story short, I got sick and had to get out of the military. I left the military, and at the time I was married, and 4 months after losing my career in the military due to a medical condition, I went through a divorce, after only being married for 3 years. And just, it was like being kicked while you're down, man, going through life and just not feeling like you taking a lot of L's, and it was time for a win, and started asking the right questions. I think challenge and adversity and things like that in your life, it opens doors to lessons that you really can't learn any other way, I don't think. And I think that was I started asking questions about life, man, and like, why are we here, and what is this all about? How can someone be here 1 minute and gone the next, and experiencing a lot of things in the military and just war and just life, man. And I started reading a lot of books and diving into self-help and professional development and those types of books, and got into universal laws, the law of attraction, and became obsessed, man, with that question. What is life about? Why are we here? And human potential, and what are we capable of? And I always look back to my mom and the way that she really thought highly of me and my brothers. And so yeah, I almost feel like obligated to honor her through my actions, through my life, and everything that I do. And through going through this journey, I stumbled upon a book, and I don't know if you've heard of David Goggins. I'm sure you have. He's all over the internet. But I came across his book, and it's called Can't Hurt Me. And I started resonating with everything, man, like his whole life story and kind of how he was brought up, and the abusive father in his situation. My father was a great father. Just gonna lay that out there so everybody knows that, and that's clear. My father was a great father, and I love my father. The only difference between me and David Goggins' situation is it was abusive boyfriends that my mom would get with, man, and they would beat the crap out of her. And you grow up in such a toxic environment. And anyways, yeah, so I could resonate with David Goggins' stories, through my upbringing and kind of the things that he was talking about. And I just loved his approach to life and the way that he just conquered his challenges and faced himself, stared himself in the mirror and became real and stopped bullshitting himself and cut the crap, man, just get to work. And that's kind of how he gets after it. And it inspired me. I got to the part, one of the chapters, he talks about him breaking the world record for pull-ups, and I was pretty good at pull-ups. So I was like, man, that doesn't seem too bad. And I cranked out like 100 in a day. Felt pretty good the next day. I was like, man, I'm sore, but I'm not too sore, so I just started setting goals. I kept a planner through, reading self-help books, and I listened to a lot of, Bob Proctor and Jim Rohn and Tony Robbins and a lot of those guys. And one thing they all say is, you got to write your goals down, keep a planner. And so I bought a planner about a year after I got out of the military. I bought a planner and basically just started writing everything in it, man. Any of my ideas or goals or anything like that. It became like my Bible, anything that I wrote in there, it was fact. I basically used it as a drawing board for my life. And I think it's a powerful tool. It's changed my life. I set goals every year, and, it's almost like when you write it down, it becomes reality. It's just, you have to check the blocks every day, make sure you're hitting all the, the steps, and it takes sacrifice. And yeah, I'm kind of getting going on and on. I don't know if that answers your question, but really David Goggins' book is kind of what led to that. I feel like you might want to know the backstory on why I was reading that book in the first place.
Yeah, that absolutely answers my question. And yeah, it's crazy to see you go through so much adversity, but still, come on top. And when is the stage where you decided, hey, I can actually do this, I can actually go for this record? Was it after you read that chapter where David did his record, or do you sort of decide, hey, I'm going to do maybe 1,000 just to test myself, and then you said, hey, I can do that, I'm going to sort of build my way up? What was your sort of mentality there?
So you're asking, like, when did I believe it? Like, when did I believe?
Yeah, when did you believe it? Yeah.
Man, I lied to myself for a while about, like, man, I can do this. When I first said I wanted to break the record, I almost kind of chuckled at myself. Like that's a far shot. 7,600 pull-ups in a day. You're sore after 100.
Yeah.
So for me, it was later in the training process. It wasn't until I could go to bed at night and know, like, with a smile on my face, that nobody did as many pull-ups as me today. Nobody. Like, if anyone, there's like one other crazy dude out there that did what I did today, but very unlikely that anyone
Nobody else in
did.
the world, eh?
Yeah, so like
that must be a crazy feeling to realize you are the only person in the entire world who has done as many pull-ups as you in a day.
Yeah, and when you could say that and feel like that feeling, it's empowering. That's where the belief, that's where the confidence. It's through. You got to do the damn work. You've got to sacrifice. There's nothing without sacrifice. So just getting after it, man. That's when I knew, all right, I'm doing everything. And that wasn't just training, but the recovery. The recovery was the hardest part, man. I was so into it, man, that I literally was waking up at 5:30 in the morning or 4:30 in the morning before I would go to the gym. I'd be at the gym at 5:30 to train clients. I was still personal training. And I'd get there, or I'd get up at 4:30 and I'd immediately jump into an ice bath, man, because I'd be so sore. And I knew that if I didn't, I would regret it, and I wouldn't be able to, that my training would be sacrificed because of my lack of discipline. And just being a wimp and not getting in the ice, So I'd fill my tub up with 40 or 50 pounds of ice, so 5 10-pound bags, and I'd fill it about halfway full, and I would lay in it for 10 minutes. And doing that too, I think, was the mental just fortitude that you have to sit in ice, freezing cold ice for 10 minutes without panicking and getting out. Like, it's painful. It hurts, and it's Have you ever done it? Have you ever done it?
No, I take cold showers, but I've never done ice before, but I can imagine. Yeah.
So yeah,
I've
like,
been in like lakes and
winning
stuff, but I feel like ice probably, a lot colder, eh? Especially for
so I
10
was doing
minutes.
that. Yeah, so I do the cold shower, but yeah, the ice is another level, man. It's terrible, but it's so beneficial. I'm not. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that want, could argue that scientifically there doesn't really a lot of studies. I don't know, but for me, in my experience with ice baths, the crap works. It takes the inflammation down. It increases blood flow. I mean, there's a lot to it, and not just those things, but the mental growth, the mental strength of getting through that 10 minutes, and you do it consistently over and over and over again. You callous your mind, man, just like David Goggins says. You become numb to the pain. You become comfortable in that extremely uncomfortable situation, So yeah, and when I was doing that and going to bed at night knowing that nobody's doing this, man, nobody's putting themselves through this misery,
Right.
But at the same time, I loved it. Because I don't know.
Was the ice bath enough to keep your back from being, sore all the time? Was it able to help you recover, or like did you have to do other things as
Yeah,
well, like massages
I
every
definitely felt
day,
less.
acupressure mats, things like that?
Yeah, I for me, the biggest thing was the inflammation in my forearms, in my, like, the tendonitis in your elbow that you'll start developing, which I did, corrective or preventative things throughout my training to kind of strengthen those areas. But that's what I really noticed the most in my lats. My lats would get really kind of, you just get tight, and you feel swollen, man. And taking the ice baths kind of reduces that inflammation. And like I said, there's a lot of healing properties in your blood, and it's almost like a flush. When you get in ice water, basically what's happening is your blood is being drawn to your organs, to keep you away from your extremities. So all that blood, and you basically get a big blood flush, man. And when you get out, I don't know, man. I believe in it. Try it, knock it, or don't, man. I think for me, it works, and I'm gonna keep doing it. And like I said, it's not just for that, but the mental side of it, man. Doing something that just you don't want to do.
Absolutely, it's powerful on multiple levels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I understand you were going through a bit of a health condition at the
Yeah.
time. How did you stay consistent, work out, and feel motivated and have that energy to continue working out every day when you were going through sort of your health conditions or fatigue or whatever it could be?
Well, at the time I was training for the pull-ups, I do infusions now for my disease, and if I'm eating right and I'm not drinking alcohol and I'm staying pretty straight laced, and I've cut out a lot of meat in my diet.
Yeah.
I eat a lot more vegetables than I ever used to, and that that alone has helped tremendously. But the medication that I'm on has helped me maintain to a level that it doesn't really affect my training, especially pull-ups. There's no running involved in pull-ups. Long runs, I do. I was having issues with long runs and stuff like that. I'd rather not get into the details of
Right.
my condition, but
Yeah.
yeah, the illness really didn't affect me throughout.
Cool. What did your training look like going up to the pull-up record?
Lots of pull-ups. No, so I kind of did some backwards planning when I really sat down. I was like, okay, I want to do this. I did a test day, man. After doing 100, I think I did like how many could I do in an hour, and I went 1 minute. Every minute on the minute, I would do. I think I was doing 5 when I first did it. So I would knock out 5 pull-ups every minute on the minute for an hour, and that was my first test. And I forget what I did. It wasn't very many. So I took where I was and where I wanted to be. I knew that the record was 7,600, and I wanted to be able to do it without injury. I approached it like you would approach a long ultra race, like a 100-mile race or something. You don't want to do that. You're going to be sore and injured to, a certain level, not like permanent damage,
Yeah.
or to the point of where you're going to have to quit. But yeah, so I backwards planned and knew that if I was going to do 7,600 in a day, that I at least need to be able to do 700 or 7,600 in a week, sustain that, and be able to, not be checked out after that week, but to feel good, decent. I mean, that's going to be a hard week, but like, you know what I mean? Like not broke off, not to
Yeah.
the extreme.
Exactly.
So I kind of set that number. I was like, all right, I want to get to where I'm doing 7,600 pull-ups in a week. And then I want to be able to do that at least a couple times, obviously not back to back, but I want to be able to do that, a couple times without injury, and to know that I built up that endurance, and that I was going to be able to do it. So I set that goal, and where I was at the time, I think it was going to take me 14, 15 months, 16 months. I actually did it sooner than I thought it would. Or was it the other way? But anyways, I think I set the goal. And yeah, I've slowly progressed, about 10% a week. And then every 4th week, I would do a deload week, followed by a test. So I would deload, kind of taper off for a week. And then at the end of that week, I would do a test run. And started with, I did 5 or 6 tests. And I think the first one on week 4, the end of week 4 was 4-hour test. So I went for 4 hours. I can't remember the numbers. They're written down in my planner, but the second one was a 6-hour test. I did an 8-hour test and then 2 12-hour tests. And I think I went 1 time for 15 hours. And the 2 times I did the 12-hour, I broke David Goggins' record in half a day. So that felt good. But thank you, David.
That's
Goggins.
awesome.
And you're an inspiration.
Were you just doing regular pull-ups, or did you try to do different variations and exercises as well in your training?
Yeah, I mean, throughout the week, I was, I wasn't doing pull-ups every single day. You know what I mean? Like I would, at a point I was, but not the entire, 14 months. You've got to. There's no program. I don't think you could write a perfect program to do something like that because everyone's different. Everybody's body is going to respond differently. Injuries happen. There's going to be obstacles. There's going to be hurdles. Like you've kind of just got to understand that if you're going to go for a record like that, you might as well go ahead and settle in because it's going to take you a while, and you have to be willing to commit to something longer than a few months. You know what I mean? Unless you're already like doing, if you're cranking out, 400 or 500 pull-ups a week already, yeah, maybe you could knock it out in 4 or 5 months of really intense training and strict, being really disciplined with it. But yeah, so it's just understanding that it's a process, man.
And how did your training for muscle-ups compare to pull-ups? Was it very similar, a similar approach, or did you sort of decide to take a different approach for it?
Training for the muscle-ups and the pull-ups?
Yeah, the muscle-ups, yeah. How does it compare?
So the pull-ups was, I think, a great way to prepare myself for the muscle-ups. I think I kind of had a leg up on the other guy that held the record before. I don't know kind of his background. I really didn't do a whole lot of research on it. But Yeah, I think training for 14 months, doing 24 hours of pull-ups, and hitting the number that I hit, and taking the time after I had done the pull-ups to really take time to recover. I didn't force anything afterwards. Like I was injured. My biceps, I probably had, I know I had some micro tears in my biceps, both of them. Like I still kind of get some pains really deep in my bicep if I'm doing like bicep curls or, anything that isolates the bicep. Chin ups even, I'll get some little pains in there, but I think I did a good job recovering afterwards. I didn't do anything really high intense or with a lot of high intensity for months after. Lots of yoga.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And I understood you got
but
rhombolysis during your pull-ups. Did something similar happen when you were doing muscle ups, or was it all good because there's just less repetitions?
no, I did get rhabdo during the pull ups or after the pull ups. I ended up having some rhabdo, but during the muscle ups, no, there was no issue. I felt great. Uh, Actually, I went back, which was dumb, and I'm still kind of paying for it now. But I went back to the gym like 2 days after and was training and light. It wasn't anything too crazy, but after the pull ups, I was out for like 2 weeks. I didn't do anything. So I was
Yeah.
very surprised with how I kind of bounced back after doing that many muscle ups. But like I said, I think that my body is just, especially my upper body, is conditioned to a certain like baseline now. You know what I mean? Like I've established a
Yeah, for sure.
baseline that is, it's high, but it's not like the highest to the average person. It's high.
Yeah, yeah. Were there any specific exercises you did to train forearms, or was doing all the pull-ups enough?
Oh yeah. So plate pinch carries. I mean, tons of stuff, man. I was
Yeah,
constantly trying to just. When I was in the gym, I was almost like it was my. I was a mad scientist. I was trying to find the hardest thing that I could do, the most creative, not hardest, but like beneficial exercise that really challenged the grip strength, and required some sort of mobility, especially overhead mobility. Pull-ups have opened my lats up, my chest. Like I have so much more range of motion in my shoulders now, um, just from I think dead hanging and getting all that decompression in the spine and stuff while being on the bar. But yeah, I did a lot of exercise, lots of different farmers carries and plate pinch carries. I don't know if you know what those are. It's where you hold the plate by the head of it with your fingertips and you just hold it like that. And there's
mm.
grips, different devices you can hang on your pull-up bars. The gym I was going to had like these balls, this ball you could grab, and then it had like another handle, like different devices, like the little rock climbing fingertip holds. I'd work those into to different days throughout training. Usually, like when I'd be working accessory, like doing not pull-ups, like a day where I wasn't doing pull-ups, but rather working my like more mobility drills and just trying to strengthen the joints, the shoulders, the forearms, the elbows, the wrists. Did lots of wrist mobility drills. Um, I would say the most anyone going for this, if there's a piece of equipment you need to buy, it would be TRX Bands. I did thousands upon thousands of TRX face pulls, TRX Cuban press, um, lots of TRX rows, so that you're still kind of working that same muscle group at a way less, without putting so much strain on your body. You know what I mean? You're not taking that full load of your body weight, but you're able to still work those muscle groups. So the TRX
Mm.
band is a great device. If you don't have them, I recommend them.
No, I don't have them. I've only used them a few times in my life as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, I've always thought it was just one of those things that was a bit of a waste of time. It's not a real weight. It's not something that's
No,
really
it's
giving you
great,
load.
man.
So I thought,
Yeah.
oh, it's a bit of
Yeah.
rubbish.
You can't go at this like thinking that you're just gonna go all out, every day. Like I said, man, it's a process. It's gonna take time. Understand that. Be okay with that. Understand that you're not gonna be motivated every day, but just show up. Just keep showing up. You know.
Absolutely. absolutely. I think something interesting about you is you're quite a big guy, right? And when I look at previous record holders or previous people that really are into pull-ups, they're really small. They're quite skinny, but they've got
Hmm.
good back, good arms, but everything else
If you saw me in
they don't really
person,
work on. But
if,
sorry,
if you saw me in person, you'd realize I'm not that big of a guy. I'm only 190 pounds, 5'10". I'm not.
190s, what, like 85, 90 kgs, right?
Yeah, something like that. No,
It's
100.
it's
No, it's
pretty
100.
sizable.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. I'm not
We'll
getting
do a
into
quick Google.
it. Don't ask me conversions, man. I don't know. But yeah,
That is 86 kgs. I guess it's not too bad if you're, what, like 6 foot or something?
yeah. So there's a guy out there,
Yeah.
man. I think his handle on Instagram or his name is Max True. Do you follow him?
No, I never heard of him.
He's out there, man. And this guy, he's the one that holds. I think he holds the most consecutive bar muscle ups. He holds several other world records. I think he just did the most ring muscle ups in an hour. The guy's an animal. He's shredded. But yeah, I understand what you're saying about their body type. He is a smaller guy. He's kind of short, I think.
Yeah.
He's not too tall and more compact, very upper
Right.
body dominant.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, he's
Yeah.
inspiring me, man. I've been following him. I'm chasing him. I'm going after. He doesn't hold the one I'm going after next. I want to go after the most bar muscle ups in 1 hour. And the reason I want to do that is because one, this guy's kind of inspiring me with all his records that he's doing. But I want to show that I'm not just this guy that can go endurance. I don't want to be one-sided. I want to be considered a well-rounded athlete that can do
Yeah.
endurance as well as something like a 1 hour, which is still endurance, but it's gonna be. I'm still tweaking my training right now. I'm trying
Right.
to figure out what's gonna work. But there's a lot more explosive power that I'm focusing on. There's a lot more strength, really heavy loads and things, a lot more weighted sets than I was doing for the 24-hour records. So I'm trying to tweak it right now. And but yeah, that's my next target, man. This 1 hour
Interesting.
bar muscle ups. It's
That'll be
402,
really cool to see.
400.
I imagine you're going to be doing a lot of weighted muscle ups from now
Yeah,
on, eh?
yeah. I've got some ankle weights at the gym. I think they're 5 pounds a piece that I've been wearing. So only 10 pounds right now, but we'll get there. Been doing a lot of
Oh,
weighted pull
nice.
ups, weighted dips. But yeah, we will
Do
see.
you still train legs or?
Yeah. No, that's something
Oh, good on you,
that.
man.
So after
Because
the muscle
I
up,
was listening to John North, and he was like, he doesn't train legs going up to his records,
yeah,
or he didn't train anything else. He just did back. And then I look at you, I'm like, man, this guy's still training everything. That is really cool.
yeah. So now I did kind of leading up to it. That last month I did kind of not really focus so much on it. I wasn't
Yeah.
so concerned, but I try to stay well balanced, man. You can't just do upper body all the time and be this little dude walking around or this jacked guy walking around with bird legs. I don't one, I don't want to look like that, but two, it's not functional.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I try to stay well rounded, man. But like I said, I did kind of I do switch it on, and when I was going for the muscle ups and I was on that final month, that was my main concern when I was at the gym. I wasn't worried about doing squats and deadlifts.
Yeah, absolutely. No point in that, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you follow a particular type of diet, or would you recommend a particular type of diet, or yeah, do you do anything in particular on that regard?
I watch what I eat. Right
Right,
now, I'm
right.
watching what I eat. Have I followed diets? Yes. Have I tried certain things that I could say, yeah, they benefited me. I think one thing I can tell you is the more vegetables I eat, the better I feel. Um, I even did my girlfriend, she's a doctor, and she put together this plant-based diet, and she wanted me to kind of be the guinea pig and run through it. And so I did, man. And I'll tell you, I lost, I was at 12% body fat at the time, which is still pretty low. And I didn't change anything about my training routine, nothing else other than just sticking to this plant-based diet. But I went from 12% to I think 6% or 7%, and didn't change anything else, man. So got great results with that. I felt a lot of improvements in my sleep. Yeah, other than that, man, lots of energy and just felt good. But I did feel light. I felt like it was hard. I didn't feel like I was getting enough protein, and that could just be because I only did it for a month and I didn't really, I don't know, commit to it long enough. I think to get long-term change, you have to stick to something longer than a month, so. But right now, as far as diet goes, I just try to be disciplined and what's right and what's wrong, and I avoid as much processed, try to avoid as much processed foods as you can. And if I can eat a meal if there's a vegan option and I'm eating out, I'm gonna more likely or not eat that. And just trying to eat a well-rounded meal my thing is this, man. I'm bad. I like today. I was late on this podcast for the second day in a row, and I apologize. I got sidetracked, man. I work and I forget to eat. I forget to, I'll go all day. I'll get so tunnel visioned on a goal, on a project or a vision and an idea, whatever. And next thing you know, 8 hours have passed and I haven't eaten since breakfast. And it's like, dude, and you're training. Like, how are you going to do this? So I go through those phases where I'm kind of lacking in different areas, and you just kind of gotta hone it back in, man. Get it together.
Right.
But,
how many grams of protein do you get? I imagine you need a lot for recovery, eh?
Dude,
yeah. Are you just always chugging
yeah,
protein
so
shakes
I'm
every
not
hour, or what's the plan?
I had too much going on to even try to weigh anything or measure anything, man. I couldn't tell you. I know I had a goal. I can't remember exactly at the time what my goal macros were per day, but yeah, man, I just when I was training for that, man, like I was, no lie, I was spending 4 or 5, sometimes 6 hours a day training, and then on those test days, I was there all day. So for me, man, diet. I don't like to talk too much about diet because I don't follow a diet. I just try to make the right decision.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Do you have any philosophies on life that are really important to you?
Yeah, I think one that I'm trying to work on is smiling more. Growing up, I was always told that you need to smile more. You're intimidating, man. Like, and I'd always wonder why everyone wanted to fight me. Like, why does this guy want to fight me? I'm like the nicest guy in the world. But it didn't really resonate until I read a quote. It said, "Smile at the world, it'll smile back, man." And this was after I had done a lot of reading, watched a lot of motivation and things like that, and read about the law of attraction. And that to me is the law of attraction, man. You get what you put out, and if you're putting out negative vibes, you're going to get negativity. If you're putting out good vibes and you're smiling, and you're going to attract that. I can't remember the last time someone smiled at me and I wasn't able to smile. Like, it just subconsciously smile back. So if you want a world of peace and happiness, then be that for the people around you, and you'll attract.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. I love that. And if somebody wanted to go for this record, or maybe they could only do 100 pull-ups and they want to do 1,000, 2,000, what would you say to those people?
Break it down, and like, don't look at the whole staircase. I'm gonna use another quote there, but take it one step at a time. Break it down, know the goal, the target, and backwards plan from there. Realistically, how long is it going to take you to achieve that? And then buckle in and just day by day do it and build the volume over time.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Brandon, for being on the podcast today.
Yeah.
I really appreciate your time. It's been really inspiring.
Awesome, man. And like I said, it's an honor